Lara Croft is undoubtedly one of the most iconic video game characters in history. Since her debut in the mid-90s, she's become a cultural phenomenon, inspiring countless game sequels, iterations, and even a movie adaptation. But here's the question. Why aren't there more fully articulated action figures of her? Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. But this is not Lara Croft. This is Zip Gal. And this is 3D Zip Guy. "3D Zip Guy here, back with another 3D printable action figure build. Whether you're new here or a longtime supporter, a huge thanks to all of you for clicking on this video. I truly appreciate it. I hope I can earn that subscribe and like button click from you today. I'm just doing a bit of prep work here. You just saw me bending these parts using hot water. These are going to be the holster straps. This will all make sense later in the video. I printed this using high-speed PLA, generously provided by Two Trees. I tried their samples a while back, and it quickly became my new favorite filament because of how easy the support removal is. I actually reached out to Two Trees to ask if they had a distributor in my area, so I could buy some. Instead, they offered to send me more, and I'm really grateful for that. If you want to check them out, links down below. Let's dive in. Starting with the feet, insert the zip tie from the bottom of the heel, directing it towards the horizontal tunnel that leads to the front. Curve the tip of the zip tie and insert it from the bottom of the toe. Insert it back into the horizontal tunnel, returning to the heel, and then lock the zip tie. Before tightening, position the parts closer together to ensure alignment. Use a stick or a screwdriver to pin down the zip tie head. Then carefully pull the tail to tighten it. Cut off the excess zip tie to complete this step. Now, take the ankle donut joint and a 5mm zip tie. Insert the zip tie tail through the bottom of the heel towards the ankle. Loop the zip tie through the hole in the ankle donut, then back into the heel. Lock the zip tie and tighten it securely. This step is critical as the heel will bear the weight of the entire figure. Trim off the excess zip tie once tightened. Repeat the same process for the other foot. Take the shin and attach it to the ankle, ensuring the ankle peg snaps into place within the shin. Apply super glue to the top of the boot. Attach the upper shin on top, then let it dry for a while. Take one of the knees and pass a zip tie behind it, ensuring it curls around the lower rod. Do not pull the zip tie all the way tight. Leave at least an inch between the zip tie head and the knee. Insert the tail of the zip tie into the boot. The tail should make a U-turn, coming back up towards the knee. Lock the zip tie and push the head into the shin cavity. Pin the zip tie head down with the knee part. Gently pull the zip tie to tighten it, making sure the head does not slip out of the shin. Cut off the excess tail of the zip tie. Repeat these steps for both lower legs. Moving up to the thighs, you can use either a 5mm or 8mm zip tie for this step. Insert the zip tie into the thigh, and as it comes out the other end, insert the tail into the upper front rod of the knee, then back up into the thigh. Position the knee so that the side discs of the knee slide into the side channels at the bottom of the thigh. Lock the zip tie and tighten it while pressing the head down into the hole using a tool or your finger. Cut off the excess zip tie tail. Repeat these steps for the other way. Moving on to the arms, insert a 5mm zip tie into the forearm and through the glove cuff. Curl the zip tie tail so it makes a U-turn into the hand donut. Loop the tail back into the forearm and lock the zip tie. Don't pull it all the way tight just yet. Use a tool to push the zip tie head into the forearm cavity. Tighten the zip tie, then cut off the excess as close to the head as possible. Now, move on to the elbow. Position the elbow peg so the center nub is pointing toward the elbow. Insert a zip tie behind the nub until the head sinks about halfway. Curl the tip and run it through the front of the elbow. Lock the zip tie while positioning the elbow peg so the nub slips between the elbow walls. It should look like this, with the zip tie head facing the back of the elbow. Trim off the excess zip tie. Moving on to the upper arm and shoulder. Insert a 5mm zip tie into the shoulder, below the cylindrical bridge. Pass it through the upper arm, but be mindful of the orientation. The triceps, which looks like a small bulge and has a bit of an S-curve, should be facing backwards. Curl the zip tie and insert it into the front of the elbow. Then, insert it back into the upper arm and out through the shoulder where it originally entered. Lock the zip tie. Oops, I pulled too much and didn't get the upper arm oriented properly. No worries, I just need to shift the part around. There we go. Tighten everything up and trim off the excess. Next, attach the shoulder hook to the shoulder by forcing the C shape to clip around the cylindrical bridge. Finally, attach the elbow peg to the forearm. Repeat these steps for both arms. Now, onto the slightly more challenging part of the build. Here are the left and right hip pegs. The bulging areas indicate which way they should face. Essentially, these are the butt cheeks, and they should be facing backwards. Next, we need to insert the hip peg into the ratchet peg. This will require a bit of force, and admittedly, it could get pretty tough. That's why I designed this simple tool. It lets you rest the ratchet peg against a flat surface, allowing you to apply even pressure. Simply position the tool behind the ratchet peg. You can press the hip peg down using your whole upper body weight, or hammer it with a rubber handle or mallet. Personally, I prefer using this clamp. It makes the process much easier, and it has soft pads to protect the paint job. That was really satisfying. This is actually the first time I'm testing this out, so I'm very pleased it worked on the first try. The second one went even faster. Another great success. Now, let's complete these hip joints by snapping in the front pieces. Let's set these aside for now. Climbing up to the pelvis, insert an 8mm zip tie into the back of the pelvis block. The zip tie should come out through the concave side. Just above where the tail emerged, you'll find another slot. Insert the zip tie into this slot, guiding it up to the hole inside the bowl-shaped peg. Pull the zip tie upwards and gently tuck the zip tie head into the pelvic block. Be careful not to pull too hard, just enough to allow the zip tie head to sink in slightly. Next, take the pelvis and insert the block into the middle. Take a 5mm zip tie and slot it in next to the bowl peg. Take the tip of the tail and insert it back into the pelvis. Lock the zip tie, but do not tighten it yet. Leave about 3 to 5 centimeters of clearance in the zip tie. Repeat this process on the other side. But again, do not tighten the zip tie yet. I cannot stress this enough. Now, pull apart the pelvis block to make room for the next step. Take both hip joints and slot the discs into the middle channel of the pelvis. We'll be sandwiching the ratchet joints, but before doing that, curl a 5mm zip tie and insert it from the top of the pelvis, moving down to the slot right under the belt. Take the right holster strap we reshaped earlier with hot water and insert the zip tie tail into the strap ring. Next, go back into the pelvis through the top slot, right above the one we came out of earlier. Tuck the zip tie head in, lock it, tighten it, and trim the excess. Repeat this on the other side. This may get trickier when printed at a smaller scale, so attaching the holster straps first before slotting everything else could make the process much easier. Now, push the pelvis block in to lock the hip joints in place. Tighten both sides while pushing the zip tie heads into the concave holes beneath the bowl. Once that's done, cut off the excess zip ties. Reminder, do not tug on the center zip tie, as this may misalign the head slotted inside the pelvis. Let's check. If you can still see right through the rectangle slot, the zip tie is still in its proper position. Moving our way up to the top, no pun intended, glue the upper chest piece onto the shirt. Let it dry before proceeding. Next, insert 2 zip ties into the rectangular slots within the chest cavity. The zip ties should make a U-turn back into the chest. Lock both zip ties, but do not tighten them yet. Insert the chest socket piece under the locked zip ties, ensuring the socket is oriented correctly. Once in place, tighten both zip ties. Then, cut off the excess. Now, we need to attach the modified torso donut. Insert a 4mm zip tie through the hole into the chest cavity and out to the collar. Pass the zip tie through the neck and around the neck peg donut hole. Insert it back into the neck, then back to the modified chest donut. Tighten and lock the zip tie as securely as possible. Finally, snip off the excess. Now we will connect the pelvis to the torso. Position the torso core into the midsection, or the abs. Insert the zip tie from the pelvis block through the torso core and around the small hole below the chest donut. Then, insert it back into the torso core and into the rectangular slot inside the bowl-shaped joint. It should come out let's just call it the rear exit. Tighten the zip tie while carefully positioning all the parts in their proper orientation. Now it's time to connect the legs. But first, we need to insert these parts. They are intended to be part of the shorts, but they will serve another purpose. Once they're in, simply connect the legs and you should hear or feel a pop. That felt awesome. On to the next one. The arms are pretty straightforward. Insert the shoulder spacers and pop the ball into the sockets. There you go. I may have over-tightened the sockets, but that's okay. Let's move this arm out of the way. Pop in the holster on both sides. Squeezing the pegs a bit with a pair of pliers makes the holster snap in much easier. We're almost done. This is an optional part, but I think it's pretty cool, so I'm showing it anyway. Simply port the straps into the slots. The buckle should be placed upwards. They should lock into place, even without any glue. Let's put it on her. Sweet. That little detail makes me happy. You can totally replace those straps with faux leather. That's an option. And finally, the head. Oh, and this one too.